Welcome everyone to another edition of Jai After Dark. We are on episode 2 of White Lotus season 3 today. Shabnam, what's up? This is interesting, right?
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting good. I'm excited. I'm loving this new season.
The writing is incredible because we do not know. I have so many theories and then I switch every line almost because you just don't know what's going on and you don't know who or what is the shooter. But yes, hey, we can get confused in the moment, but it was a great episode. I really enjoyed watching episode 2 today.
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome.
Really quick, thanks for all the listeners for calling us out for saying alligator. Yeah, there was no alligator. It was a body that was coming at Zion, so not coming at him again.
Floating towards him.
Yeah. And there's a bit that I really enjoy from Sebastian Maniscalco, super funny Italian-American comedian out of Chicago. And one of his specials, he's like, I like to go to Vegas. I like to go to the pool, but the things floating in the pool in Vegas, no. And then he's like, one time there's a Band-Aid floating right at me.
Ew.
So yeah, we got caught up. We thought it was alligators, but yeah, it was a body, just like every other White Lotus episode. I don't know where we got alligators from, Shabnam.
Okay, so I'm an overthinker, and I was like, he yelled at the local statue, so this is like some kind of karma thing, and I was getting all like super overthinking about it, but it's White Lotus. There was a dead body, duh. So yeah.
Hey, you never know. It could be an alligator, and they put a face over him, like Mission Impossible, and the alligator, could be disguised as a body. So you never know. Let's figure this out together.
Yeah, totally.
Are there alligators in Koh Samui Island, where the Four Seasons Resort is, where this was filmed? I don't know if there's alligators in Thailand. That's another research point we need to do.
Yeah,
there's not,
we need to figure out if
there was no alligators.
Well, there was that big ass iguana, so I figure there's some type of thing like that probably swims and can bite you, some version of a alligator crocodile thing. But yeah, so Koh Samui Island, that's pretty cool. I was trying to figure out where that was. It's actually really, really close to Singapore.
Yeah. So it's southern Thailand, right? And I think so northern Thailand, of course, southern Thailand gets a little skinny and there's islands off the coast that we were looking up last week. And Koh Samui, you don't have to go to South Thailand and then take a boat, right? You can fly from Bangkok to Koh Samui. Nice. And it's an hour and 5 minutes and there's flights all day on Thai Air. So we did do that research. You don't have to take a boat to the Four Seasons in case anybody has $12,000 a night to go to Four Seasons White Lotus.
Is it 12,000 or is it 1,200?
I like saying 12,000. I think it just sounds ridiculous. But again, in the first episode, I said 40,000. I don't think it's 40,000, but they might have a presidential suite that's 40,000.
I think it's 1,200, but
it's pricey. We're not going.
Yeah. No, we're not going. Right? But see, you could have gone. You could have flown to Thailand and then taken a flight to Koh Samui, and then you could have looked at the resort and not stayed there.
I would still be in Thailand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No, because, I don't want to run into Patrick Schwarzenegger's ass.
Oh my God. That was an incredible opener scene. Woo! I was like, okay, I know this is TMI, but it was like hairless, but you could tell that there was hair before. So I was just like,
Maria Shriver's his mom. I think she's Italian, right?
Yeah.
So a little, so a little hairy. I don't know. Sorry, Maria. You look great.
Yeah, so I was just like, holy shit. I think she is. I don't know. We could research that for next time too. But his brother Lachlan is looking at his ass from the bed like, what the fuck is this ass doing in my face?
Some locked eyes, locked Lynn eyes on his brother's ass. So
locked Lynn eyes. I know.
Yeah.
Early in the morning in Thailand. What are you gonna do?
Why are they both sleeping so naked? Why are they both sleeping so naked? Just put some boxers on. Put some tighty whities on, right? Put a wrap on.
Yeah.
Put a lungi on. Put something on. It's, you don't need to be that naked, right? It reminds me of my college freshman roommate, not the one that reached out when he heard this podcast, but the other one that's probably going to reach out now. He would, I would walk by his bedroom, whatever, his dorm room. And when he saw me, he'd be like, hey, Samim. I'd be like, hey, what's up? So I, stand in front of his doorway. He would pull down his shorts or his boxers and grab his pee-pee and give me half of you, I guess, because his hand is covering the other half. And yeah, so white men, I guess, do this, and I have experience. It just came back to me when I saw his ass.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight.
Yes.
So your college roommate would flash you in the morning as you walk by, but only half flash you?
Well, it would be like the whole dick and ball situation. It would be like the balls would be exposed, but he was holding his dick.
Okay.
So I would see the tip, the bottom, and the the eggs, the nuts, as
Interesting. Okay.
as the family called the joke.
Yeah. What did they say?
Family,
As
he's like having sex
in
with someone in Thailand.
Yeah. It's like in Thailand, having sex is like a box of chocolates. You don't know which ones have nuts. That's what he said, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that true? Hey, chaiafterdark@chaiafterdark.com. Let us know. Have you had sex in Thailand, and were there nuts involved?
Yeah.
No, please don't
surprising.
email us.
Like, was it a surprise?
Yeah, it was a surprise.
Know. Was the chocolate what you expected, or was there a surprise?
Yeah. Hey, we didn't come up with this. We are commenting on this show, and that is what they talked about and showed us. So thank you for that image. I have no problems with male nudity. I have no problems with female nudity. But, when a potential minor brother is staring like that, then yeah, I might have a problem with it. But I do have some thoughts about this family. We're going to get into it. I think there's something going on here, and I have some thoughts.
Okay. We'll get to that later. The last thing I'll just say on it before we move on is that there's a lot of boundary issues, right? And I mean, I think just like, people with traumatic childhoods and past, there can be boundary blurring problems in families, like in a lot of different ways. Here, there's like some sexual boundary blurring, and it is weird. But let's talk about the ladies, since they were the first like meaty scene after the ass. So
the ass was kind of meaty as well, though. What are you talking about? Meat back to back. Pack it in. Pack it up. Pack it in. Let me begin.
Oh man. All right. So the ladies, Caitlin, Jacqueline, and Lori are all hanging out. So Katie and Jacqueline are sitting and talking about Lori and how poor her, she's going through a divorce and her daughter got kicked out of school. And then Jacqueline says Lori didn't get a promotion to partner like that she expected she was going to, and her career's really stalled. And they're kind of just basically shitting on her, for lack of a better term.
Just leave her alone. What did she do?
Because her having a shitty life makes them feel better. So we got to talk about it.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's sad.
And so Katie goes, no wonder she looks defeated. And Jacqueline says, I thought you said she looked great. And Katie goes, she does, but she looks tired. Maybe it's the drinking. Let's find another reason to shit on her. Man, it was wild. I know. Yeah. Okay, so this was interesting. Lori walks in to pick up her bag again, and she makes kind of like she slams on the door. Like she slams on the door a couple times, like heavy knocks, but they make it reminiscent of the gunshots in the first episode. So you freak out as a viewer. Katie and Jacqueline freak out because they're like in the room, and they probably freak out because even if they think it's her, they're freaking out because they're talking shit about her. And she comes in to get her bag, and they're like, we were talking about you. And she's like, oh really? And like she takes her bag and she like goes back to her room and whatever.
So is that the same scene as the first episode?
Yeah, it's the same scene as the end of the first episode. It's like that night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then that scene kind of ends, but there's this interesting monkey symbolism they kind of show throughout. And there's some kind of Thai symbolism, some kind of similar like hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil kind of like monkey symbolism, but it's like a little different than that. I want to look more into that as we go along, but it's also just really cool to see all the nature and the animals and the, focus on the monkeys. There's a lot of focus on monkeys. So it'll be interesting to see
So monkeys are, I don't know if they're sacred in Thailand. I don't want to say that. I don't think they are, but they are some sort of value in Thai culture. Monkeys like symbolize like courage, family loyalty, sort of, from what I can recall. But really quickly, I did look up monkeys in Buddhism, and So Thai monkey culture, which sounds awful. Sorry, I don't mean it like that. It is a symbol of local culture. If it's local culture, it's like bravery, loyalty, and wit. If it is Buddhism, it
Okay.
symbolizes hypocrisy. Also, this is
Interesting.
Google AI. So, hey, they tell us everything's correct with AI. So if I'm wrong, go tell your overlords, not me. But
Yeah.
I'm getting this straight off Google AI. Yeah, it's two different things, right?
Yeah. So you're right. What I would add on to that from my tiny little
Mhm,
Google research, they say monkeys are a symbol of good fortune and protectors against evil spirits.
mhm.
But these monkeys are like looking at these people like, what the fuck are you doing? So maybe the people are the evil spirits. I don't know. This is interesting. But again, I'm an
Yeah.
overthinker. So who knows?
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. But I think those are the monkeys that cover their eyes, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different symbolism going on here. And every article I did read, one was on Variety. All of them
Mm-hmm.
had different aspects,
Takes.
takes. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
great because this is art that we're reviewing, right? I know we say TV
Mm-hmm.
shows, we say film, but truly this is just art. So we
Mm-hmm.
can take it how we want to take it. And hey, if this monkey's telling you to calm down, you probably should calm down
Yeah.
and be loyal to your family, okay? Not
Yeah.
sexually loyal. Disgusting perverts. I'm just kidding. We don't know
Well,
that yet.
that's a good segue. That's a good segue into the next scene
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
family.
Yes,
So
it's kinda gross.
they're all having breakfast, and the mom Victoria says the dad Timothy should take lorazepam, and the dad says, I don't take drugs, and then Saxon says, I don't take drugs either. He's kind of like he kisses ass to his dad, right? And then Piper, the daughter,
Yeah.
says, what are you talking about? You take Adderall and testosterone, and like, he just kind
Steroids.
of, yeah, basically. Then Katie comes over from the group of women. She comes over and she's like talking to Victoria, trying to basically bond with her and say hi because
Mhm.
apparently they have a common friend whose baby shower they met at like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And and Victoria does not give an F. She's like giving such a cold shoulder to Katie, and Katie's like, I just talked to our mutual friend this weekend, and Victoria's like, yeah, I'm on lorazepam. I could not give one freaking
Yeah.
fuck about you right now. So then Katie finally walks away and gives up. And Lachlan asks his mom, why were you so rude? And Victoria, she's just like, what does she want from me? I'm on vacation with my family. I don't know her. And then Saxon says, her friend is Jacqueline Lemon, a famous actress. And then Victoria says, should I be impressed? Actresses are all prostitutes, which is
Yeah.
really ironic.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what is this a commentary on? Maybe it's a commentary on prescription pills and, you know, everybody can get addicted to something, so it could be that. Or it could be that she's just extremely, extremely selfish and they're just showing like how a mom can kind of disappear. Or
Yeah.
my final take, this is not a real family. This is not a real
Interesting.
family. Timothy's running, and this is his Meet the Millers. If anyone's seen
Interesting.
that with Jason Sudeikis, they rent an RV because he needs to go pick up 50 pounds of weed in Mexico. So he hires a family to get over the border. He hires Jennifer Aniston, who's a stripper, and then he hires 2 kids that live in his building or something like that. So, hey, I'm putting it out there. This might not be a real family.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with that take. My take is that the writers are
Yeah.
trying to show us the different characters within a dysfunctional family. Like you have this checked out mom, you have Timothy, he's checked out in a different way because he's actually stressed out and concerned about potentially going to jail. And then Saxon is like his mom but kisses his dad's ass. And then Piper and Lachlan are wondering what they're doing in this family. And I think Piper is trying to find meaning in her life by looking into Buddhism and
Yeah.
traveling and all that. And maybe Lachlan is too, but then Lachlan, he's more influenced by his weird ass older brother that lacks complete boundaries. So I don't know. I think we're just seeing these different characters within a dysfunctional family.
Yeah. And in season 2, there wasn't a patriarch, matriarch, kids family that came to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
There was the
That's
father,
right.
the grandfather, and the son because the families bailed, right? Because all the men
Yeah.
couldn't keep their dicks in their pants. So
Yeah.
this season, this is like the family with Steve Zahn and Connie Britton. So yeah, they
From
could just have
season
their
one.
own from season 1. They could just have their own issues, and it could be just a commentary on American life, like American Beauty, one of the best movies ever made. Mom is doped up, dad is stressed out, kids are horny. Typical American suburban life, right? So, like, I don't know. Then it's not that interesting when I say it like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just not that interesting. So if it is a normal family that has suburban issues, then, hey, you guys have plenty of opportunity to get out of your issues, but you're in your own heads, right? You have enough cash and wealth to not live like that. But that's why I don't think it's a real family. But it probably is.
Interesting. We'll see.
We have a bunch of episodes left.
Yeah. So in the next section, we see the couple, Rick and Chelsea. So Chelsea books a session with Dr. Amrita, and Rick finds this out over breakfast when Mook comes to basically remind them of their appointment later in the day. And Rick basically, he's like, I don't want to go to that.
Yeah.
And she says, and then like basically Chelsea's like, well, we can't cancel this late in the game because we're going to have to pay anyways. So you're just going to go. And then basically Chelsea tells Rick that they're going to have dinner with Chloe and Greg that night. So that's going to be an interesting dinner too. I'm getting some potential swinging vibes there, but as we know, Rick's completely checked out of this entire like relationship and this entire trip. But I mean, who knows?
I don't know about swinging vibes. I think we thought that, right? With Ethan and Cameron and Daphne in the previous season, and it didn't really happen. They alluded to it, they talked about it, and he literally says like, you fucked my wife, but who knows? Yeah. I don't know if this is swinging stuff, but we're not at the end of this episode yet, but I have a very specific thought on who Rick is, and it makes it somewhat clear at the end of it, but we can hold on to that.
Okay.
Because his eyes and ears perk up, right? When certain people are mentioned. He's only there for one reason, right? And I just don't see swinging vibes here. By the way, this is Greg in season 1 and 2, but he's Gary in this season.
Right. He is Gary.
Yeah. He's a dick, right? Like he's there for Gary is absolutely there for some sort of robbery attempt, or I don't know what he's doing, but we're not even sure if Greg was the guy behind Tanya's demise in season 2. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Except for the fact that he definitely has Tanya's money because he's in this amazing, beautiful house behind this resort in Thailand. So he definitely got some of Tanya's, at least some of Tanya's money.
But wouldn't Rick just say no? He's such a dick, and he's so agreeable in this scene. He's like, okay, you already paid for it. I'll go to the wellness session with Amrita. Come on. Yeah. I would just be like, hey, if I'm going to be that big of a dick, I would say, no, I'm not going. You can just pay her, right? And then they ask for dinner, and then he's like, I'm going to go to dinner. Come on. Rick's not that agreeable.
Maybe, but I think then what your theory is right, that Rick doesn't want to be there, but he doesn't want to raise too much of a fuss because he is there for a secret reason, right? Yeah. And so totally. If he like really raises hell, like what is he going to do? Leave? He doesn't want to leave because he actually wants to be there, but it's for a secret reason. So I think he's towing the line there.
Well, Gary/Greg, and Rick do hang out at the end of the episode, and it is a very interesting discussion, and we'll get to it. So hang on.
Yeah. So next we see the ladies again, and they're going to work on their wellness with Valentine, and they finish up their breakfast meal talking about how Lori should hook up with Valentine, and just kind of like, hey, you're single and here's a hot guy, like hook up with him or whatever, like a pity kind of a
remember thing. Cancun, and she's like, what did I do? I didn't do anything in Cancun. Man, so fucking like manipulative, shrewd, cattiness, like nothing is real about these three women.
Yeah, and they like don't really actually like each other. So then we see as the day progresses, these different groups of people go on to do different activities. So Piper does yoga, and there's like this creeper guy like checking her out as she does yoga. And Brian was like, is this what happens at yoga classes? I was like, no, dude. First of all, I don't even like to set my mat up near men because they sweat and grunt too much. No offense to men. and then I was like, I don't make eye contact with other people, so I don't know.
This turned into a strange montage of scenes. All the wellness coaches are going to all the guests that we've gone through, and Timothy is like, no, I'm not doing anything. He's like the Rick, right, of the family. And he leaves, and everybody else has their wellness things. But I don't know. They're all so stupid. I don't know. Well,
okay, Saxon again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this guy, like, come on, man.
Yeah, Saxon gets a massage and he gets like a huge boner during the massage. And, the White Lotus really sets the scene up to give us that like clear tent view of
it was obvious. Like, come on. Yeah. Like, she's standing in front of him. Saxon's there. At first, I thought it was Lachlan because I was like, okay, 17-year-old getting a massage. Yeah, maybe you get a chubby. I get it.
Yeah.
It could happen. But, dude, if you're. Okay, hold on. I do have a story here. So I have gotten massages before, and luckily I've never, been compelled to show everything. But I've gotten normal massages in a normal manner. I did ask someone though, like me, of course I asked, and I was like, "Hey, does it ever happen where somebody gets like somewhat, aroused?" And she's like, "Yeah, it happens all the time." And she's like, "But it's never unprofessional because it's a human nature sort of thing. And yeah, I am touching a guy and he might not even be thinking it, but it just kind of arouses him and it pops up." And she's like, "It's never been an issue. Like, it's been embarrassing for the guy."
Interesting.
You see what I'm saying? It would be embarrassing for the man, I think.
Yeah, hopefully
unless he wants you to see it, then it's different, right? Then it turns into
then
it's
like a sexual harassment. Yeah.
Same boner can be pervy or it can be normal, right? I don't know.
It can be pervy or it can be embarrassing, depending on the intention of the man.
Exactly. So this one, we know what this boner was.
It was pervy.
It was a pervy boner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, my favorite part's coming up. Belinda and her wellness session and her man.
Yeah. But before we get there, we have to talk about Timothy and his call from the Washington Post.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So basically his secretary calls him and starts talking about how the Washington Post has called the office. And he's like, "You mean the Wall Street Journal?" He's like, "No, the Post called." So now we start to realize that there's even more news outlets that are concerned about what's going on with Timothy and this whole scandal and this fund that he created and the government of Brunei and all of that. So we see his stress ratcheting up as everybody else is going through their wellness.
He's on his phone the whole time. Yeah. They're telling him to get off. He reminds me of the correlation with him, and this is so random, is Shane. Shane's obsessed with getting a better room, and Timothy is obsessed with like why the media keeps contacting him. I think he knows why the media is contacting him, but he's the one guy off on his own, right? Trying to solve a problem at the resort. Rick is trying to solve a problem away from the resort, right? Which we get to.
Yeah.
So yeah, Timothy and Shane, they're just like going around in circles. They don't actually care about relaxing. I guess that is the common thread I see, which I understand is two completely different situations, but like this motherfucker can't relax, right? And they ask him to as well.
Yeah, I do have to say, like Shane from season 1, it was a lot stupider of a reason. Like potentially going to jail for money laundering or whatever is a much more
like he's stressed
better
out
reason.
Wheel. Yeah,
better reason to be stressed out. Yeah,
but
yeah,
I don't know. Like, who knows? We'll see what happens. But this is a lot of twists and turns. It could just be that it's not even that bad, but I think it is bad because they actually give. This is actually the quickest they've given like specifics of something. In 3 seasons, right?
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of specifics, but it could be misdirection.
Yeah, totally. So then we get to your favorite part, Belinda doing her wellness training with what's his name, Samim?
I mean, let me set this whole thing up because Belinda is sexy. Like she's attractive, of course, in the previous season 1, but in this episode she's sexy, and I don't know if you can agree with me, but she is, right? She
is, and part of it I think is that she's relaxed. She's in this new environment. We get to see her in a
just being her
state, her being her rather than her trying to like serve people and all of that,
Yeah. So just overall, I'm already somewhat excited, not in a pervy way, not in a Saxon way, in a very
not in a Saxon way.
She looks beautiful, and she's having a good time. And Mr. Wellness from episode 1, Porn Chai. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Porn Chai. Okay, so porn and then chai, like chai after dark. I think that's how you say his name. That's how she says it.
I don't know what's going on because, the affinity for porn after dark, that makes a lot of sense, right? Chai after dark makes sense because that's what we do. I'm somewhat into this name, and I kind of feel like we're going to be yelling it out throughout the series. So people don't get upset at us, right? It says porn chai. What do you want us to do? Put it into our vault? No, we need to make jokes about it.
Yeah. We couldn't just like skate past that one like we didn't notice it, you know?
And it's not like we're making fun of Thai names. It's just so literal. It's not porn chai like PURNCHI. It's PORN
CHAI. Yeah,
and
porn
that's
chai.
what Max put as. So I turned on the subtitles just to see what it would come up as, and it came up as porn chai. That's why I know. And then I looked it up.
Look,
he's cast as that too. Yeah.
We said Unib is a unique Unib. Yeah. And so it's like, look, we're an equal opportunity person and we love you, Unib. So yeah.
Yeah. You don't think I've worked with Suck Deeps from India before? I have, and it was totally fine. Like he never made fun of anything. So this is going to be fine for us as well. We are not going to become children giggling about porn chai as we're on our 5th minute of talking about it.
Yeah.
So but no, she's sexy. He's sexy.
Oh yeah, they're both nice. Sexy.
And the chemistry is sexy too. And it's not like hookup sexy, you know, when the other characters look at each other and stuff, it's not sexy. When Saxon like hits on Chloe, it's not sexy, right? It's none of that is sexy. This was this was a very nice sexy scene. How many times have I said sexy?
I don't know, but I agree. This was
good.
sexy.
Good. Thank you.
And, you know, basically the whole premise of the scene is that Porn Chai is going to give Belinda a massage and she's going to experience his get firsthand knowledge for her training purposes of how he gives a massage. And then they're going to switch and, you know, do it that way.
Yeah.
And you go.
He's on his knees and he looks up at her and he's like, sea salt to scrub the feet. And she's like, oh. And then, so also when I'm going to bed at night, sometimes I will scroll YouTube shorts, right? And a lot of the times it's like cooking videos, but lately it's been chiropractors cracking backs and necks. So it's like super satisfying. And Porn Chai comes up behind Belinda and he's like, click. And then
he hella cracks her neck.
And she orgasms, like essentially from a neck crack. So I was like, hey, Porn Chai, maybe I will go to Thailand. White Lotus, come with me, man.
Yeah, you're gonna go there just for Porn Chai to crack your neck, right?
Yeah, he can come here. I don't know where he is. He's probably in LA, actually. I don't know if I'm talking about a, you know, symbolic figure that could be Porn Chai and my wellness coach or the actual actor. I don't know yet, so I'm a little confused right now.
Well, we'll take it to the next scene and you can think about it. Maybe next time we see Porn Chai, you'll have calm down.
Yeah, as long as it's together, right? I don't want porn, nor do I want chai right now. So just, it's got to be together, one word.
Yeah.
Got to be him. I think we need to move on.
Okay, yeah. So the couple, so Chelsea's getting her massage and Rick has a session with Amrita. Okay, so this was really fascinating because she basically wants to ask him, like, how does he de-stress and all that? And he basically is just like, I just use weed to de-stress. And then she asks him, can you remember any time in your life when you were free of stress? And he goes on this rant thing where he talks about, no, I can't because my mom was addicted to drugs and she OD'd when I was 10. He also says he never knew his father, but his father was murdered. Yeah. And she basically tells him meditation will help. He says, look, if I have no gas in the tank, my car's not going to start. Like there's nothing in me. And so nothing is going to come from me. And I was like, damn, that's pretty deep.
Yeah. You know why he's deep, right? He is a hitman.
Oh, you think he's a hitman?
I think he's a hitman or he's here for revenge. So he wants to kill the hotel owner's husband in Bangkok. So it's either of those two things. He can't feel anything. He has no empathy. That is sort of what a demeanor, personality type, FBI profile of a killer would be, right? So I'm not saying he is in this series, but if this was any other series, he would be a hitman, right? And White Lotus has twists and turns, so we don't know if he is or not,
and you're and you're getting that FBI profile from your extensive experience of watching Criminal Minds, right?
That's right. Criminal Minds. Hey, I have watched a lot of Criminal Minds, and it wasn't my idea. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And at the end of Criminal Minds, all of them line up. All like 12 of them, all the profilers, and they all say one line each. So this is what they would do, right? They would be like, Rick said his mom was a drug addict. Artie, low empathy. He needs to be fulfilled somehow. Yeah. That's where the killing comes into. Then he says, my dad was murdered. That's where the revenge comes into. Then he says, if you put gas in a tank that's empty and then just leaks out or whatever, nothing happens. I didn't actually understand that reference because
he's saying if there's no gas in the tank of a car, it's not going to start. So if there's nothing, if there's no input into something, there's going to be no output. Right. That's what he's saying.
Okay, well,
so he was
it's
like,
pretty easy to fill gas into a tank. So is he saying it's easy to get thoughts and feelings and emotions into himself? So
I think he's saying he doesn't want to. I think he's saying that he's empty inside. So there's nothing that's going to come from him, no matter how hard Amrita tries to like make him meditate and shit. But he's being stubborn. He wants to say there's nothing inside him. Right. Because he doesn't want to feel anything, probably.
What do you think about my theory then?
I think I could see that.
Yeah. But I think everyone's thinking that. I think this is a pretty obvious theory, I would imagine. So, one thing we should say here is Shabnam and I do not go on TikTok to go look at other people's ideas because White Lotus is so popular that TikTok is my TikTok is overwhelmed with White Lotus, even though I don't go on TikTok. They know that we're doing this podcast, the overlords, like I talk about. So we don't know if he's a hitman, and we don't know if the hitman thing is a recurring theme on TikTok, Shabnam. So that's something I'm not saying, I'm trying to say we didn't steal it from anywhere. It's really just coming because we watched it and then we hop on the podcast right away.
We are having original thoughts here. And if you hear them somewhere else first, we didn't. Because to be honest, we record this too quickly after the episode comes out and we have full-time jobs. So there's no way we could go on TikTok and look for stuff.
I finished this episode 1 minute before I set up this room for us to record in. So no, I don't. Actually, you know me, I don't go on TikTok. So
yeah,
I just want to put that out there because like we really want to talk through these series with not just the actual series that we are watching, but also things that we've seen in the past and then our lives as well, right? So when we talk about Hitman, maybe there was somebody in my life that was a hitman, right? And he did have an emotional quotient that was quite low. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. Next time we hang out at
no, man, come on, house. No, I didn't have any hitman in my life. It's all from Criminal Minds. Like you were right the first time.
Okay, cool. I was gonna be like, you need to tell me that story.
I think if there was a hitman in my life, I think that would have came out a long time ago, right? And who knows? Be his right hand man, Leon the Professional. That's a great movie, by the way. But yeah, I like Rick though, so that's why in the first episode I did say he ends up being a good guy. So I'm still holding out hope.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we go back to the family. Saxon is, of course, mad. So the family meets up back in their condo hotel room. And Saxon's, of course, pissed because there was no happy ending at the end of his massage. That was a pervy boner. And he wanted there to be a happy ending. And there wasn't. It was just a regular good massage.
Mm-hmm. So thanks, Saxon, for telling your mommy that you didn't get a happy ending, you stupid idiot.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah, it's so strange. That's when I don't get happy endings, I usually tell my mom as well.
Oh my God. So then Saxon, he's looking for his blender to make his protein shake while his mom's on the phone. He's so rude. He's being so loud and inconsiderate. And he's her favorite child. So she's not even saying anything to him. She's just letting him be an asshole. And then finally Tim comes back and Tim's distracted. And the whole family, it's just a cluster F. And does he end up finding his blender? He does, right?
I think he finds it, but then it cuts to the next scene. But
yeah,
it's just like another tell. We don't know what's going on here, and that's why I don't know if it's a real family. Because it's just like, if this is $1,200 a night or $12,000 a night or $40,000 a night, if you're a finance bro that went to Duke or UNC and you have experience in Wall Street and stuff like that, this is not a happy ending type of place. But it shows you the mindset of what they think. They think for them it should be. Because
but that's why
you know what I mean? Yeah.
I totally get you, but I also feel like this is a certain type of family. This is a rich, dysfunctional family. And I think that this is spot on. Like the mom has her head up her ass and is not really paying attention. One kid's like an asshole. The other two kids are neglected. The dad is worried about going to jail and his finances. To me, I think it's like a classic, rich, dysfunctional family, right? And then
I think so.
Yeah.
If it is akin to season 1, then they could be a regular family just trying to figure themselves out. But I don't know. Things usually escalate in series, right? So we'll see. I don't know. But not everybody can be a hitman / shooter / criminal. Already there's a shooter and robbery in this episode that we're about to get to. So it could just be that this is all misdirection and everybody's okay and there's just one shooter. And it could be Lori, right? Just super resentful. It could be Jacqueline. It could be anybody right now.
Yeah. So now we get this sweet scene with Mook and Gaitok having lunch, and he kind of opens up to her. He tells her he really likes her, that their families know each other. It's almost like he's doing like a Indian matchmaking, Muslim matchmaker type like
I know. That's what I
proposal.
thought. I'm like, are you
Yeah.
asking her out or are you like trying to get on to Muslim Matchmaker season 2? Because come on, man. Like that's me. It's not you.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. So eventually she's like, "So are you asking me out?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so they decide to like date, I guess, which is it was a cute little scene, and just he's just so overjoyed by being around her, which is super cute. So I kind of love them.
Yeah. He's Kai from season 1. Because Kai was so into her and she was just using him while she was on the island. So yeah, we'll see how this goes, but it's about to get wild.
So Rick and Chelsea, they basically have this conversation where Rick is like, I'm not going back to Amrita. I'm not doing a second session. He's kind of had enough of this like meditation bullshit in his mind. He's like, there's nothing inside me. There's never anything coming out and I'm never doing this again. Yeah. And so
she thinks that Amrita is wise because she's Indian. And he's like, why? She's wise only because she's Indian. And I'm like, bro, she's Sri Lankan.
Yeah.
She is Sri Lankan.
She is Sri Lankan. Shalini Paris is Sri Lankan. She is not Indian, but, you know, Chelsea thinks she's a wise Indian. And then Rick tells Chelsea, you're an idiot for putting that much stock in Amrita, which he's also obviously a gentleman, as we can see. Because
yeah.
So totally disrespectful. So they eat their meal and she's sort of like, she needs some alone time away from Rick. And so she ends up going to a jewelry store later. But before that, Piper and Lachlan are chilling in water hammocks. Okay. And I saw this and I was like, dude, I would go to Thailand to do that. That looks so freaking fun to like sit in a water hammock, like right above the water.
When I saw that scene, I was like, finally, you know, some nice, relaxing scene. Like you're just kind of chilling. You have a, you know, I don't know if they have overwater bungalows, but yeah, you're totally correct. That was finally, I'm like, oh, this is nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So we see like Lachlan and Piper talking about prayer, and Lachlan says, you want to believe it, but I don't think it's real. And Piper bites back. She's like, no, it's real. And then Lachlan basically decides to bring up out of nowhere, Saxon says you've never had sex. Then Piper's like, how would he know? How would that even come up? And Lachlan's like, he was just saying it's weird because you're so hot, but you've never had sex. Then Lachlan's like, you have though, right? And then she's like, seriously? And she swims away.
Yeah.
It was a really weird scene. This family's so weird.
I mean, I don't fault the younger brother because if your parents and your older brother and your siblings are like that, then you are like that, especially if it's so in your face. So he's repeating what his older brother says. And I've seen this a million times over. People just don't know. Like they think it's their personality, but no, you're being built and groomed by your own family. So this is a really connected scene to real life, I think, because there is family dysfunction like this, and it does affect the younger kids. And I just don't think it's a real thing that people talk about. If this is a true family, I don't know if they're a real family.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. That's actually a really interesting perspective because it almost feels like he's bringing this up to Piper because he can't make sense of what Saxon's saying and what's going on in the family, and he feels like the only person in the family that maybe he can bring it up to is Piper herself. So he's bringing it up to her to maybe be able to talk to her about it and see if like together they can make sense of it. But it's about her. So she's like, what the fuck? And then she like leaves the conversation. So he's kind of like hung out to dry again. Yeah. But it's because he can't go to his parents because his parents suck. You know,
they're just going to laugh. They're going to be like, ha ha ha, Saxon's so funny. Like they're not going to care at all. Right. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting scene. So she does bring it up later at a family dinner, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
I think that's the drama that they're building.
Yeah. And so then we see, again, all this symbolism of a monkey, giant fly, snake, like this whole little montage of visuals between scenes that I think is like really interesting. And I don't quite know what to make of it, except for that they're trying to like build some symbolism in our minds.
and some suspense.
Yeah.
They're trying to build some suspense. And before the scene, there's another Lori, Jacqueline, and Kate scene where Valentine does their body scanning.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Can't forget about these ladies.
Yeah.
So he is telling them that their body fluids, like, what are they doing? It's like a markup or makeup, like a
It's
blood
like
test?
their health,
Their
their
BMI,
like
I guess?
their
Yeah.
physical health, like their biological age is like half their actual age. That's what he tells Jacqueline, and he tells that to Lori.
Yeah, but
But
not Kate.
Kate,
Yeah.
Kate, who's, Jacqueline's number 2, is basically told that she's average for her age, which is interesting. They're kind of like boosting the top of the totem pole and the bottom of the totem pole, but the one that's in the middle, they're kind of shitting on. There's like so much meat in this episode of these women and their hierarchy, and then this scene, how this guy is kind of treating them and how that plays into their insecurities. It's really interesting.
It's just like, be yourself. It's such a cliche thing to say, and this is not a podcast that gives advice on healthy living or anything like that, but just like kind of like be yourself, right? I understand this is a scripted series, and we say this all the time, but they're taking this from insecurities of people in friends groups like this. And sometimes I do think that people overdo their friend groups to the point where if you're not happy in a friend group, wouldn't you rather just be alone? And Sophie's not going to listen to this, but so my daughter has like these 3-4 friends that she does hang out with, and they do this very specific club together that's a lot of hours per week. So they went and had brunch the week before, 3 of them, and they didn't invite Sophie. Sophie went right up to them at school today, and she's like, I'm going to ask them very directly why they didn't ask me. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you might want to like chill out. You might want to like, ease into it a little bit. And she's like, I don't have time for this. So I was like, okay, well, you are my daughter then. So I don't know what happened because we're recording the podcast right now. She's getting out of school right now, but I'm not sure like what happened, but Lori's not going anywhere out of that friend group, even though she hasn't seen them in 4 years. I think that's what they say.
Yeah.
Like they haven't seen each other in 4 years. But also, one thing I should say is in the first episode, we did say Lori was like the one that was left out, but that's not true. When 2 of them get together, they do it to the third person.
Yeah, they're like piranhas.
Yeah, it's like, not a Lori versus Kate versus Jacqueline thing. They're all actually pretty similar. Lori, she seemed like a very good character in the first episode, other than the murdery stuff that I thought she might be murdering everyone. But now she's kind of annoying too.
Yeah.
So after Lori's and everyone gets their body mass index, and then they all analyzed, and they're all checking out Valentine, by the way, who is a great looking guy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's gonna fuck him, but it sounds like someone's gonna fuck him. Yeah. But the previous scene that you referred to with Chloe asking Chelsea to go with her to the pool and hang out so Rick can get his alone time, she pulls out her credit card at the pool and she's like, my boyfriend's being a dick, but good thing I got his credit card. Want to come with me? The store has amazing things here. So then they go to the jewelry store, and I don't know, I think Valentine might be in on this.
You think
I think he might be in on it, because then Valentine is talking to Gaitok at the gate. Yeah. And he's like, hey, you want to go to the fights? I got this fight for you Friday night. My friend's fighting. And Gaitok's like, oh my God, you're inviting me? And he's so sweet. He's so receptive to the invitation. It seems like Valentine is holding up the barrier, and then that car comes in and he just goes in to the resort. Yeah. And Gaitok is like, hello. And he doesn't stop him. Yeah. And then within like 15 seconds, Mass Bandit goes into the jewelry store, smashes and grabs whatever he can, doesn't hurt anyone, goes back out. Gaitok tries to stop him because he has to put the thing back up, and they pistol whip him.
Yeah, they pistol whip Gaitok.
Yeah, this all happens within like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and Chloe is in the fitting room at the time, so she kind of doesn't really experience it, although she knows what's going on, but she stays in there, obviously. And then Chelsea's like, oh my God, and she's like freaking out in the corner, and she's all exasperated, right? And then after the smash and grab is over and the investigation ensues, Rick comes to Chelsea and he like embraces Chelsea. It's the first time you kind of see Rick let his guard down. You're like, there is something in there. There isn't nothing in there. And he cares about Chelsea, and they actually like hug and embrace, which is really interesting to see. But
he looked like worried. Like the acting, when Rick was acting Walter Goggins, he looked significantly worried. So great acting.
Yeah. And it makes me think of season 1 when Kai basically steals from the family safe, and after the whole thing, the parents of the family get together. What's her name? Connie Britton's character and her husband, they have a better marriage after that. It almost gave me like reminiscent vibes of that, where like Chelsea and Rick are embracing and they kind of actually care about each other, because so far he's kind of treated her like dismissively.
Yeah, I mean, like pressureful situations, and not to quote Speed, Sandra Bullock, and Keanu Reeves, but hey, you get together when you're speeding down a freeway 55 miles an hour and you can't go below that, right? And there's a bomb.
Yeah.
Like, they literally said, they're like, we can't not hook up. So,
yeah.
Like, yeah, Sandra Bullock, Keanu Reeves. Also, not to get like super meta, but to this day, they're like, we have sexual chemistry because it was like so hot to film together.
Wow,
like,
that's actually interesting. That's kind of crazy.
And
dude, that was I loved that movie as a kid, and it was definitely like educational. It like leveled me up in my understanding of the world.
Dude, that's an amazing movie. Hey, I know we're not talking about it, but like, there's no sex scenes in that movie. There is a love interest, but he's saving her fucking life, right? So like, it actually makes a lot of sense. That's a great movie. That's how you make a movie.
It's the sexiest movie without a sex scene, right?
That's how you make a movie.
Yeah. All right, cool. Where were we? I'm like, okay, Gaitok and Mook. So Mook goes and checks on Gaitok because she hears about this whole robbery that's happened, and basically she's like, how are you doing? Are you okay? And he's loving the attention from her. It's such a cute moment. She's like, I gotta go home to go back to my mom, but you know, like, I'm okay.
Suspect. What's going on here? I think
Why is it suspect?
I already gave my theory that Valentine wasn't on it, but Gaitok could have set that up. He just got pistol whipped.
Yeah.
This could be a Jesse Smollett situation in Chicago. Set up and everything to look cool.
Oh, man. I mean, maybe he's like, dude, pistol whip me. If Mook's going to make out with me, I'll do it. You know, hey, who knows?
Exactly. Hey, I'll take a wellness session from Amrita while getting shot at. I'm putting that out there. Hey, and not to give a little bit too much away, but that actually might be true and it might not be true.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? So then we see the family at dinner. And this is where we already talked about this. This is where Saxon talks about having sex in Thailand is like a box of chocolates. You never know which one's going to have nuts. And Victoria starts laughing really hard because she thinks everything Saxon does is hilarious. She's really annoying. And then she tells her children, you are all gorgeous and you come from money. So you have to be hyper vigilant and on guard of other people.
Yeah.
It's like, was so weird. This is what I'm saying. It's like a weird dysfunction. Like, she has so much pride in the fact that they're wealthy and she has children that are like physically attractive, that she feels like she's done her job and she can just check out of life and they're all fucked up and she has zero.
Is that it
fucks.
though, right? That's not a white culture thing. That's a cross culture thing. There's plenty of people that want the big house, they want the jobs, they want the money, they want the cash, and then they want beautiful children. And that's when life is at its peak. But
and then they check the fuck out emotionally. And their kids are dysfunctional and they don't give a fuck. Yeah, I guess that's pretty.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like, of course, dysfunctional people come from many different environments. And yeah, nothing they've done is that surprising to me. I've met families like this, like from top to bottom. I've met
exactly
families like this.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is like a caricature of a certain type of dysfunctional family, and it's interesting.
Well, I mean, things get a little wild.
So then Rick and Chelsea, we see them having dinner with Greg/Gary and Chloe. And so Rick asks Greg/Gary what he does. And he says he's retired.
Chelsea makes him because they're not talking to each other. So the uncomfortableness builds up and they're sitting in silence. And finally she's like, ask him something.
Yeah. And so Rick finally does. And Gary's like, I'm retired. And so then Rick is like, well, what'd you do before you retired? And then he goes, a little bit of this and that. And then Greg/Gary asks Rick back, like, what do you do? And Rick says, the same as you, Gary. And he says, this and that. And
this and that.
Yeah.
We don't get much else.
Neither of them want to be there at all. They're like, what the fuck are we doing here? We don't want to talk to
Greg Gary wants to be there because he's there for a reason. And he's been there for a year living in that house.
But I'm saying, like, I don't think he wants to have dinner with this other couple.
Sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they don't want to have dinner together. Of course not. And then they cut to Belinda looking at Greg and Gary. Greg.
Yeah.
And she's like, is that him? Nah, can't be. And then she goes back to her dinner.
Okay, so there's no dialogue, but I thought she was looking at him like she was pissed that he was here, but not that she was like surprised or trying to figure out who he was.
Interesting. Oh,
but
cool.
that she's like,
I didn't think about that. I think it's
she's like,
well, does she know him? Does she remember him?
Of course. I think she does remember. Why wouldn't she remember him? She saw him, right? Tanya was like this guy that I met at the bar and whatever. So I definitely think that Belinda knows who he is. And Belinda's like, this fucking guy. So I'm waiting for that to develop because I know Belinda knows something and, you know, he knows something about Belinda maybe, but like,
let's not
forget
yet about our season 1 and 2 recap that we did with Amanda. And Amanda's theory is that Belinda gets hooked up from wealth from Tanya from her demise. So hopefully Belinda did get the money and not Gary.
Yeah, I hope Belinda did get the money.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I think even if Belinda got money, I think Belinda got a small amount of money and Greg got most of the money. That's what I think. Even if Belinda got some. I don't think she got a lot. So
hey, we'll see. 2 episodes in. This is good.
Yeah. So the funny part at the end of the dinner is that Greg/Gary says that he met Chloe through a matchmaking service in Dubai. Okay.
Yeah.
And this comes up because obviously, you know, Chelsea asks, like, how'd you guys meet each other? And so he says it worked out, but they're both really different. He's American, she's French. And then she gets pissed because she's like, you think I'm French? And she starts arguing with him because she's not French. She's from Quebec. She's Canadian. And she's like, you think French Canadians the same as France? There's just a whole ocean in the middle. And like they start really hardcore arguing. So that was pretty interesting.
And then Chelsea and Rick actually liked it. Then they look at each other because they felt better about their courtship.
Dysfunction. Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. And then one quick scene here. So a lot happens in the last 5 minutes. And then one other scene. Jacqueline does notice Lori and Kate talking about her while she's looking at the proprietor's book because she sings at the event and then she's going to read her book, but the book's all in Thai, so she can't read it. So Jacqueline knows that they're talking shit as well, but it's like a really quick scene.
Yeah, because when those two get together, Kate and Lori, they start talking shit about Jacqueline. So like the theme with these ladies is they just love to talk shit, and whoever's there, they'll talk shit with that person about whoever's not there. So there you go.
So I don't know. Is Chloe a hooker?
I don't know.
I mean, that's what Rick thinks. So we'll see.
Yeah, depends on what kind of matchmaking service they.
Hey, well, you lived in Dubai for a year. You know what kind of vibe is out there. If there was a wealthy expat, you can say
who was looking for a French Canadian model. I mean, you know, hey, you never know.
It would be a little hookery, and not in a very degrading way. But yeah, you can be a runway model.
I mean,
and you can still marry wealthy, and you don't have to be called a prostitute. But that shit happens. Of course, it happens in Dubai.
Of course it happens. You know, it happens anywhere.
Everywhere.
It's all about the intention. It's like, is this 90 Day Fiance, or is this like I fell in love? Is this pervy boner, or is this embarrassed boner? You know, it's like it could be anything.
Or
it could be either.
Just like any other White Lotus storyline, she could be his accomplice this time. Tanya did not know what was going to happen to her, but Chloe might know. She does actually seem like an accomplice. She could be. So we don't know, right?
Yeah. And so we do see Srithela starting to perform, and her performance is super beautiful. This is when we also see Rick like lurking and hearing her
ears perk up when she says, "My husband's in Bangkok and I'm going to Bangkok tomorrow." He loves it.
Yeah. So right after her performance, she talks to the 3 ladies. The 3 ladies come up to her, and then that's when we see him lurking, and like what Sameem's saying, he's like trying to figure out where her husband is, what she's doing. So he's got some ulterior motives here.
And then he says it. I'm going to Bangkok for a day or 2. I'll be back. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" So he's following her.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then
he's following Srithela. So he tells Chelsea, right, that he's going to Bangkok. Yeah. So then we see Tim and
having a fucking meltdown, him and Kenny. Fucking Kenny.
Yeah.
So Kenny he's yelling finally at this guy Kenny throughout the series, right?
Yeah.
Well, he yells at him a little bit, but then he yells at him a lot.
Yeah, Kenny's on the phone. Basically, Kenny's hella pissed. Kenny's like, 20 FBI agents came and raided our office. And Timothy's like, I thought you kept things confidential. And he's like, I did, but I didn't know this whistleblowing bitch in my office was going to rat me out. And then Timothy's like, is it going to implicate me? Like Timothy's just like, cares about himself. And then Kenny basically tells him, yeah, you need to get a lawyer. I got this burner so I could call you to tell you to fucking get a lawyer yesterday. And then it's hilarious because Tim goes, I'm going to jail and I only got $10 million out of this.
Yeah.
I was like,
for this, he said for this bribery something. So it's not a business deal. He literally says bribery. So I don't know if they bribed the.
Wasn't it money laundering? This is when they said money laundering.
He said money laundering, bribery, bullshit, like something like that. So, hey, did they fuck with the Sultan of Brunei? You probably don't want to fuck with that guy. You probably don't want to fuck with that guy.
Definitely don't want to fuck with that guy.
Who's on Brunei that you probably don't want to fuck with? He's probably the only person. And his whole family probably, but yeah.
The last little funny part that happened in this is like when you were talking about the three ladies talking shit about each other. Katie says to Lori about how Jacqueline just puts on a front that maybe her relationship isn't so secure. And Lori's like, yeah, she goes on and on about her husband and they don't even see each other. And then Katie goes, well, you know, the bigger the front, the bigger the back. And I was just like, what the
I know.
fuck?
I wrote that down. I was like, I don't know what that means. I think it means she's hiding hella shit.
It means she's hiding a hella shit, but I'm like, is that supposed to be talking about like an ass? Like, I don't know.
Hey, none of those ladies got asses, by the way, dude. They're like literally 5'11", 100 pounds. I'm sorry, but that's what they are. Like, I don't want to body shame. There's nothing like that. They're beautiful women, but look, they want to look like what they want to look like, and they all don't want any body fat. So how can you have an ass unless it's a BBL?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to be commenting on big butts and stuff. So hey, listeners, email us ChattyAfterDark at ChattyAfterDark.com. Let us know what you think about big butts.
Oh man. Okay, I guess should we end on that note? Do we have anything else to add?
This was a lot. This is a cool episode. Like, I think this is going to be an extremely fun series.
Yeah. And, you know, I was thinking, I was like, should we talk about this character cluster by character cluster? But we kind of can't because, like you said, unlike previous seasons, these characters are interacting with each other a lot, you know? And so it's hard to do that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, but this was a great episode and there's a lot brewing here. So I guess we'll see what episode 3 brings of this season.
Yeah, we finally got our first booby scene with Rick and Chelsea.
Oh yeah.
It was very intimate, actually. It was unlike other HBO sex scenes.
You know, that's what I told Brian when we were watching it. I was like, that's actually like very intimate. Like that
their whole
scene.
Vibe changed in the second half of this episode.
Yeah, after the robbery.
Yeah,
right?
He became very loving. So I'm wondering, is he like a empathetic hitman? So we'll see. Maybe he's like Dexter. He only kills. Hey, what did that guy do? Yeah, the American husband. Hey, think about it. Wealthy American businessman in Thailand.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
The Hangover 3. Like, are they going to do a cross? Is Kenny coming back from Mr. Chow from Hangover 3 in Bangkok? Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
So we do another crossover here.
Well, I'll say this in closing. This was a great episode. We started with ass and we ended with boobs. So there you go.
There you go. Hey, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Shabnam, for walking us through White Lotus Season 3, Episode 2. This was a great, great series. Hey, I'm going to say it right here. You know I don't watch TV, right?
But you watch it now.
I watch it now, and I love talking about it. So, hey, thank you everyone so much for listening to Chai After Dark. Thank you, Shabnam, for walking us through The White Lotus Season 3, Episode 2. The shenanigans were out of control. Hopefully, a lot more coming. Please check out our socials, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. We're Chai After Dark everywhere. If you want more of this, we do have true crime episodes. We got some funny ass shit coming up, right? The Mindy Project. The Mindy Project
rewatch, true crime. We got like a lot of fun stuff coming on our paid feed. So check that out. We got 2 levels there, $8 and $5. We're on patreon.com/ChaiAfterDark and Substack as well. Come through.
Chai After Dark. That's all you need to know. You'll find us anywhere. Hey, if you can't find us, we respond. ChaiAfterDark at ChaiAfterDark.com. We get some interesting emails.
Yeah.
We do get some interesting emails. Keep them coming. We're learning a lot. So thank you so much, everyone. We will see you next week for episode 3. Jingle out. Let's go.